Everyone, good morning, sir. I will discuss the two topics of my report. The first topic is letter of Claro Recto to Director General of the Japanese Military Administration, and the second topic is liberation of the Philippines proclamation on General Douglas MacArthur, Commander-in-Chief of the United States Army. So the first topic that I will discuss is the letter of Claro Recto to the Director General of the Japanese Military Administration. In June 15, 1944, Claro Recto, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, wrote a letter to Lieutenant General Takaki Wachi, the Director General of the Japanese Military Administration, protesting the Japanese atrocities in the Philippines. The establishment of a Japanese-supported republic under Jose P. Laurel did not lead to the acceptance of Japanese occupation by Filipinos. 6 months after Laurel's inauguration, Recto felt compelled to express the frustrations of the Filipino people regarding the harsh realities of daily life under Japanese rule. This included physical abuse, property confiscation, and violence, particularly against women. In his letter, Recto explained that despite Japan's liberal policies, many Filipinos felt distrust and hostility towards the Japanese regime due to their daily suffering. He emphasized that ordinary people cared more about how they were treated on a personal level rather than abstract political matters. The mistreatment, such as being dispossessed of property without fair compensation, led to their growing resentment. Recto pointed out that even though the government may have a good intentions, it was difficult to win over the Filipino people through symbolic gestures like donations of clothes and medicines, as these were overshadowed by everyday hardships. Recto also noted that the more educated classes, while seemingly less emotional, were equally affected by this mistreatment and shared the same concerns. Ultimately, he stressed that the true factors influencing the Filipinos' people's attitude towards Japan were the daily injustices they faced, rather than the higher-level political policies promoted by the Japanese government. Despite his violent reactions, he is deeply affected emotionally. In this way, the emotional outbursts of an ordinary person often become a whole reflection of belief. Because of his education, his sensitivities are more easily triggered by acts of injustice, cruelty, discrimination, insulting behavior, and lack of consideration. Furthermore, he can easily distinguish between truth and propaganda, honesty and pretense. He understands the meaning of freedom and what a truly free country should be. He knows the deep connection between political sovereignty and economic freedom. He is more aware of the difference between words and actions, promises and fulfillment, principles and deeds. In light of these truths, we cannot deny that one of the most urgent problems of Filipino leaders face today is how to convince the people of the truth of Philippine independence, so they will support the government of the Republic and cooperate with the Japanese by living peacefully and engaging in productive activities. When independence was declared in October 1943, many who doubt Japan's true intentions in the Philippines showed readiness to change their views. They had high hopes for the newly formed republic and expected material progress under the existing conditions, particularly in the relationship between the Japanese and Filipinos, and between Japanese parties and the Philippines. However, a large part of the Filipino population feared that Philippine independence was not real and was declared only for propaganda purposes. Since the establishment of the Republic, the Filipino leaders have continuously strived to uphold its prestige in the eyes of their people and to maximize the powers and privileges that a free state government should have, except for the limitations imposed by the war situation under the alliance agreement between the Philippines and Japan. To this end, we ask our fellow citizens who are being urged believe that the independence of our country is genuine, that Japan's goals in promoting and recognizing it are sincere, and they should have faith in their government, support its activities, and cooperate with Japanese authorities in the Philippines to achieve the noble goals set in the alliance agreement. Moreover, the failure to understand the Filipino side has led to harsh and inappropriate treatment of the population, such as public humiliation, physical abuse, and excessive punishment. These actions, often inflicted without proper justification or due process, have caused widespread suffering. Many Filipinos, including innocent civilians, have been killed or tortured based on mere suspicion or false accusation, leading to deep insight of injustice and fear across the country. Many Filipinos are suffering under harsh, unjust punishment. Many individuals are punished solely because they have relatives involved with guerrilla bands, or because they provide food or shelter under threat of violence. These people often face severe consequences, including being maimed, sick, or killed. And when they survive, they are filled with resentment towards the injustice they faced. Additionally, many individuals are arrested without explanation and disappear, leaving their families without any information about their whereabouts or charges. In Manila, many citizens are growing increasingly frustrated due to the forced evacuation of their homes to accommodate the Imperial Japanese Army and Navy. While initial relocations were handled with some consideration, the current situation has made it impossible for many people to find a shelter elsewhere, as the housing shortage in the city worsens. Despite numerous appeals for help, there seems to be no viable solution unless military authorities address the issue directly. And the second topic that I will report is the liberation of the Philippines proclamation of General Douglas MacArthur, Commander-in-Chief of the United States Army. In 1944, despite Japan granting the Philippines a form of independence, establishing a Filipino-led government, the Filipino people continued to resist Japanese occupation. The arrival of news about an impending American liberation sparked hope and led to daily air raids across the country. The first American air raids on the Philippines took place in Davao in August 1944, followed by air raids in Manila on September 21. These attacks marked the beginning of the U.S. efforts to reclaim the islands from Japanese control. In response to the air raids, President Jose P. Laurel of the Japanese-backed government declared war against the United States. This development signaled the start of the Philippines' liberation from Japanese forces. In October 1944, the Commonwealth government was temporarily re-established in Tacloban, Leyte, and on December 21, the Laurel government evacuated to Baguio. In January 1945, American forces landed in Lingayen, Pangasinan, and entered Manila the following month, beginning the month-long Battle of Manila. By March, President Laurel was flown to Taiwan and later to Japan. On July 4, 1945, General Douglas MacArthur declared the Philippines liberated and Japan surrendered unconditionally on August 15, 1945. On September 3, General Tomoyuki Yamashita who surrendered the remaining Japanese forces in the Philippines. MacArthur's famous word, "I shall return," had kept Filipino spirits high throughout the occupation, and his return on October 20, 1944, fulfilled that promise. General Douglas MacArthur, as a commander-in-chief of the military forces in the Philippines, issued a proclamation asserting to the authority of the United States over the Commonwealth of the Philippines. He declared that the Commonwealth government, under the supreme authority of the United States, was the only legal government and jurisdiction in areas of the Philippines that were free from enemy occupation. MacArthur emphasized that all existing laws and regulations of the Commonwealth were still in effect and binding in liberated regions. He also declared that any laws or regulations from other governments within the Philippines, a part of the Commonwealth, were invalid and had no legal standing in this area. Finally, MacArthur expressed his intent to progressively restore constitutional governance to the Philippines as territories were freed from enemy control. He urged all loyal citizens to respect and obey the Constitution of the Commonwealth and the legitimate laws of the duly constituted government. And the and again, the two topics that I report is the title of Letter of Claro M. Recto to the Director General of the Japanese Military Administration and Liberation of the Philippines, Proclamation of General Douglas MacArthur, Commander-in-Chief of the United States Army.